Hi, everyone, and welcome to No Kill in Motion. I'm Dave Smith from No Kill, Colorado. I'm here today with Christina Bergson, a lawyer and the owner of the animal law firm. Nice to see you this morning, Christina.
Yeah, nice to see you too, David. Thanks for having me.
All right, so I want to talk about Zion. This is a dog that you're defending, and Zion had three incidents with other dogs, but as I understand, the first was dismissed, second was deferred, but during that deferment, a third altercation occurred. In this incident, his dad was walking him, slipped on some wet pavement or something. And when he fell down, he lost Zion's leash. Zion got into an altercation again with another dog. There were minor injuries in this, but they were minor. That's what the veterinarian said. So after this, Zion's dad actually passed. It was unrelated to the accident, but he passed away. And so this incident moved, or this court case moved to his mom. And instead of a normal bond in this case, which is normally monetary, right? $10,000 bond or whatever, the judge decided to make Zion the bond. And now Zion has been in captivity for well over 250 days now, November of 2022. And so tell us, let's start with there. Why is this case taking so long and Zion is stuck in this situation?
Well, so Zion's situation is unique compared to any other situation that I've encountered where when you say Zion is acting as the bond, he's acting as the bond for the appeal of his criminal sentence. So when you were talking about the criminal case, which involves the bites or the altercations that he was in, I call them scuffles because, again, they were very minor. But Miss Conway, who's Zion's mom, the cases were always with her. Her husband was never charged. So these
Okay.
cases always were with her. And she pled guilty all three times, technically. And then she hired us after she pled guilty because when she went into the courtroom for her sentence, the judge surprised her with, well, you need to relinquish Zion to the Buddy Center. And she said, well, wait a minute. I need to get an attorney because I think there was some prosecutorial misconduct on the town of Parker's part by not clearly explaining to Miss Conway what rights she was giving up by signing a guilty plea. Clearly, they never told her that Zion was going to be relinquished. Otherwise, she never would have pled guilty and then just got surprised by it. But anyway, so we're appealing the sentence of Zion's relinquishment. And in an appeal, just like when someone is charged with a criminal matter and then they bond out of jail, they pay money to get out, and that money acts as like a surety in case, they flee, right? It's the same kind of principle in an appeal that you pay a bond to the court holds the money, and then when the appeal is over with, the person who paid the bond gets the money. Or if the other person, if the property during the appeal is dissipated, then the other person gets the money, right? It's acting as a surety. So in this situation, it's very unique in that Zion, a living, breathing, thinking creature, feeling creature entity, is acting as money, is acting as the surety. There are situations where a bond can be a house or a car or something of value, depending on the circumstances. But I've never in my career seen a living creature act as the bond. And that's why this case is so atrocious and horrible. And so to answer your question, why is this taking so long? It's because appeals can take years. I've had appeals last anywhere from 2.5 to 5 years before a judge issues an opinion. And unless the judge agrees to release the dog early, pending the appeal, then he's going to sit in there and act as the bond until the appeal completes. And there's no deadline for the judge to issue an order.
Well, and I have to say, I mean, we have to point out, it's kind of a cliche, human years versus dog years, right? So for a dog, this is a large portion of his life. He's a large dog. They
Mm-hmm.
generally have a lower lifespan than small dogs. So, a year is a long time, and we're approaching a year, right? We're going to be at a year and 3 months
Mm-hmm.
if Zion isn't released. And so that's just, yeah. And we might have another conversation at a later segment about animals as property, because that can both be a defense sometimes, but in this case, and in many cases like this, it becomes a big problem, right? Because they just consider it's like a car or a house or whatever, just as property, and so therefore now he's the bond, which is frankly disgusting from my point of view.
I
Um,
agree.
so the next part is she had to relinquish Zion, but in order to keep him alive and safe, she has to pay every month. And she's paying something like $650 a month. Okay, I find that fascinating. So the average cost of having a dog in America, or the average spend per person is about $1,200, which means that in 2 months they're charging $1,300. I don't know what they're doing. I like to think that Zion's in the penthouse having champagne and caviar or something, right, for that kind of price. But
Yeah.
but we don't know if he is. I know that you recently had a demonstration that was covered by the news, and in that, DDFL immediately put out a video showing him. But if correct me if I'm wrong, but in the 9 months that he has been in there and you've been working this appeal, they never sent a single image or update to the owner.
Nope, not a single one. All the times we've asked for medical records, and they're just refusing. They even went so far as to file a motion to quash, which essentially means dismiss our request for records, and they won for technical reasons because it's in an appellate court that are boring and I won't get into. But yeah, so I mean, they're outright refusing. I mean, DDFL's attorney even went so far as to tell me I owe you nothing, which I mean, I'm just like flabbergasted by that kind of a response when this is supposed to be an organization whose tagline is compassion always. It seems like it's just compassion sometimes.
Yeah, I won't argue with you there. So for 9 months, neither Zion's person nor an agent of Zion's person has been able to go in to the facility to see Zion.
Oh no, absolutely not. And that's not uncommon in these kinds of cases where dogs are impounded for being allegedly dangerous. We usually have to file a motion to get permission to send a behaviorist or a veterinarian in there, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. Or a lot of times we have to file a motion just to let the client have visitation with their dog. And it's honestly met tooth and nail. We haven't tried that yet because we've just been met with such outright hostility just trying to even get records. So we know that it's going to be a major battle to get any sort of visitation or to have any sort of valuation done by our side. But as far as I'm aware, there's been no evaluation by Zion of any DDFL entity or representative. Supposedly he's getting vet care, but we haven't gotten any records. The only thing we've gotten so far related to vet care is a bill for an ear infection that he got while he was there. So
Interesting. Oh, and that was in addition to the 650. So if
in
something
addition
like
to the
that,
650.
that's interesting. So 650 doesn't cover medical care. That's food and a kennel.
Apparently, and
Right.
volunteer staff to shove his metal bowl under the door.
Yeah, I think they definitely have hundreds of volunteers. I don't know the exact number, but I do know that DDFL as an organization, they have several facilities, but they have hundreds of volunteers. They're very proud of that. Um, so is there a legal reason they're allowed to refuse information about Zion?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, normally when I ask the court for information or visitation or to have an evaluation by one of our people, it gets granted. It typically doesn't get denied. As far and DDFL has not given me any reason or the court any legal reason why information should not be given because everyone agrees that Zion is still Miss Conway's dog unless and until the court says otherwise, the appellate court says otherwise, and unless and until she stops paying this monthly impound fee. Um, so I cannot think of a reason, and I have not been given a reason.
Okay. Well, We're actually out of time. Thank you so much, Christina. We'll meet again to actually talk more about Zion. I appreciate your time today. This is No Kill in Motion. I'm David Smith from No Kill Colorado, here with Christina Bergston from the animal law firm who is defending Zion. Thank you for being here.